YouTube, what's good? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you all are enjoying the Lightfall grind. I surely am. I grinded the Lost Sector to get the brand new exotic helmet for the Titan, and look at me. I look like a monster straight out of like a snowstorm. So let's go ahead and take a look at this, the Cadmus Ridge Lancecap. Let's read what it says. Lancer's Vigil. Diamond Lances create stasis crystals on impact when thrown, with more crystals created by hitting bosses and vehicles. In other words, every time you throw a lance on impact, there will be a stasis crystal, and you can always interact with those crystals like you could before when you throw a glacial nade or whatever, and they work with your fragments as normal as well. So for example, if you throw a lance, there's a crystal that will proc the Whisper of Chains if you're nearby it. So when you hit a boss, it says that you get more crystals. So for example, if you hit a wyvern, for example, or a big boss, it will spawn about 3 crystals instead of just like 1 if you hit like a red bar miner. That's not really a big deal to deal with. While using the Stasis subclass and behind your rally barricade, rapid precision hits and combatant final blows with a stasis weapon creates a diamond lance near you, and by near you it's directly right on top of you when you're sitting behind the rally barricade. So obviously you get all the benefits of the rally barricade, like your reload speed and resilience and whatnot, but you also get to get free stasis lance from precision hits or kills. One awesome thing to take note of is that actually works even if you do not have the aspect diamond lance equipped, but I found that it's probably better to just use it, and you can combine this with any other fragment for your build crafting scenarios. And here in a second, I'll show you what I decided to go with that made it really effective when playing PvE. So now that you understand that, let me go ahead and point out that there's actually a potential bug. I'm not sure if it's intended, but I'm going to guess that it's not, because it states that it has to be a stasis weapon here to create a diamond lance near you. But in my testing, I actually found out that you can use an energy weapon or a kinetic weapon to create those stasis lances. So the way it works, obviously in a private match, I can show you when I hit 3 headshots from a pulse rifle, I can create the diamond lance. If I hit 3 headshots from an SMG, I can create the diamond lance. 3 headshots from a dire promise also generated a diamond lance. Likewise, when I use an energy weapon, 3 headshots from a trusty or a pulse rifle will create the stasis lance. It does not have to be a stasis weapon, which honestly opens up the build crafting to a whole different level, because it's no longer limited to just using a kinetic stasis weapon. Alright, so now that you understand that, let's take a look at the subclass, the way that I kitted this out to actually get this exotic to be pretty helpful and effective against all the PvE ads that we're going up against. So first up, let's take a look at the glacial nade. Obviously we make crystals, and this is going to interact with our fragments here. We're always going to be making crystals, so let's go ahead and see which ones I chose. Whisper of Shards, so that whenever I break a stasis crystal, I'm going to get even more glacial grenade energy, which is really important for all the ability chaining. Previously, before they removed the font, the wells mods that we had in the previous seasons, there were some quick ways to chain abilities, but it's actually much more difficult now. But thanks to, the synergies with the helmet and the fragments, it's more effective. And obviously you want to try to get tier 10 resilience for the max damage resistance. Next up, I went with Whisper of Chains, so that whenever you're near a frozen target or a stasis crystal, you take reduced damage, and that's really effective whenever you're close range and the ads just don't kill you. This works with your glacial grenade, and of course it works with any diamond lance that you throw, as you are always freezing or creating a stasis crystal. Next up, I actually decided to go with this one. Whenever I hit a stasis melee, it reloads all stowed weapons and grants a temporary boost to weapon ready speed. The idea here is to make this build a lot more fun and effective, and not just throwing abilities, but just be really strong and feel good to use. Whenever you, for example, shoot your energy weapon, your power ammo, expend all your primary ammo, and you use Shiver Strike, every single weapon will actually get automatically reloaded, because all those weapons are actually stowed away in the middle of this melee ability. Next up, I'm using Whisper of Rending. Primary ammo weapons do increased damage to stasis crystals and frozen targets. I find this to be really important, because no matter what primary you're using, you don't have to worry about those crystals being too thick. You can actually just instantly break them and cause a lot of damage to targets, which takes me to the final fragment that I decided to use, Whisper of Fissures. It does increase damage and the size of the burst of the stasis when you destroy a stasis crystal or defeat a frozen target. This part is really important, because obviously we're going to be making a bunch of crystals, and breaking all those crystals will help us defeat a bunch of mobs and even create more crystals with glacial grenades, or just get more diamond lances, because in case you didn't know, shatter or defeated targets with stasis abilities or weapons create a stasis lance, further pushing that you know, Diamond Lance Fantasy. Now for your aspects, honestly, this is up to you completely. I tested Cryo Class and I found it pretty fun to slide around, but the ways to get my abilities back faster wasn't as effective, so I found Tectonic Harvest to be ultimately the best option here for ability spam, which I prefer here when I'm playing Behemoth. Shattering a Stasis Crystal creates a Stasis Shard, and this is going to give us melee energy, and that's going to chain into Shiver Strike, chains into our Whisper Fragment here to reload all of our guns, and even the slow effect impact on a target and defeating them will spawn a Stasis Lance, so that's very, very good. Let's go ahead and move over to my mod customization build here, so you can take a look at how I decided to prep this. When it comes to the gauntlets, I want to get a bunch of grenade recharge. So that's why I have things like firepower to make Orbs of Light. When I get multi-kills with a Shatter Grenade, I have Grenade Kickstart, so whenever I have a armor charge, I will get a big chunk of my grenade back faster. On the chest piece, we basically just went for things that can help us be more tanky in close range encounters. On my boots, Orbs of Restoration is a huge mod to use. Anytime we're picking up orbs, we are going to be getting more ability energy, which helps us ability spam. And the way we make orbs, obviously, is firepower and the Harmonic Siphon, or whatever mod you decide to use, because remember, it doesn't matter if you use a stasis weapon, you can still make those lances behind the shield, but probably best to use a stasis primary. I also have recuperation, so that when I do make those orbs, I have a way of actually getting my health back. Lastly, we have a triple bomber here on the close, so whenever I do pop a barricade, I can get my grenade back faster. And that pretty much concludes the mod build. These are the weapons that I like using personally for fun. And yeah, man, I hope you enjoy watching some of the gameplay. Let me know what you think about this exotic. Drop me a like and don't forget to subscribe. Feels like the survivability is really, really good. I just got chained twice. Having a Stasis SMG, I'm so glad I grinded for some of these good ones. Just constantly making lances thanks to the aspect, but also my SMG, you know, works quite well with it. It's just sent them flying somewhere else. I can tell the build is quite effective at surviving, because normally when I'm using like either my Hunter or Strand Titan, even my Solar Titan, and it gets really chaotic, and I don't even have any healing capabilities with like Solar Bonk Restoration, and still hanging in quite well. Awesome.